Hey everybody. I hear in some of the classes they're doing alphabet things, so tomorrow's A for art. And since I have to create my Tuesday artwork, I figured I'd drag you along with me for a minute. And we'll see how long this takes to do. I may speed up the video a little bit or something so it doesn't take you all day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sketch. I don't know if you can see it. There it goes a little bit. All right. Take that sketch. It's a cartoon character of a troubadour for Troubadour Tuesday. Troubadour is it's an ancient, a medieval French um, singer person, basically. Would make up songs and walk around the country and sing things like that. So I'm going to take him and I'm going to put him on the screen that you can see now, which is the big white square right there. And then we'll continue. Okay, so just hold on for a second. And I'm going to take my phone, take a picture of him, and then I'm going to send it. He's on there. I'm going to send it to my computer, which is what you're sitting on top of right there. Um, Somehow it's not going. Oh, there we go. Because I hadn't pressed the right button. So it's coming over to the Mac. So I can take this and put it away. And we will turn over to a drawing thing now, which is here. And let me just unplug it and plug it back in again because it seems to be having problems recognizing itself. And there we go. So now you can see a little bit. I'm drawing right there. Um, so let's grab that picture and embed it here. Where'd it go? Place embedded. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the picture I just sent to my computer from my phone and I'm going to put it in this picture and then I can trace it. So I'm going to go to downloads, this one, which should be it. And there he is. So I'm going to take him, I'm going to crop him down a little bit. Makes him that big. Then I'm going to go up here, canvas size. Problem with having two monitors sometimes is that stuff jumps all over the place. So I'm going to make this 2000 again and 2000. So there's our board. You take him, make him bigger so it kind of takes up the whole thing here. So this is just getting ready to go, okay? And for some reason, oh, I don't want to crop again. Um, so you can see over here that I have layers, and they're basically things stacked up on top of another. So I have a background layer which is white, which you can see if I move. Oops, not that way. If I move him out of the way, oops. So what happens when you do this at night? There's my square, my background. So here he is here. And then I'm going to create some other layers. So I'm going to go like this. So this one is going to be my sketch layer. I'm going to draw on top of him. I'm going to cut his transparency down a little bit and then lock that layer. So I can't accidentally touch it, paint on it, whatever. I'm going to go over here and grab a pencil. I'm going to try to do this with speed draw so we're not going crazy with time here, all right? So let's bring him up a little bit. So I'm just going to trace the outline. I'm going to do it really roughly, all right? So I'm just going to come in here like this. and trace the shapes of things here. So this is the brim of his hat. It's kind of this big flouncy kind of hat thing going on here, going around behind him here. I'm just going to continue right behind him like this. I'm going to bring it down like this because I'll add the hair later. Cross like that. So you're probably asking yourself, don't like that line, how I'm drawing on the computer. Well, I'm drawing on the computer using this thing. It's called a Wacom tablet. And I draw on it with this, which is a Wacom pen. And it allows me to basically draw on the screen of the computer, which is kind of cool. And this is my second one that I've had. I'm going to rough in some color here too. The second one I've had um, because I did both with Picasso. Actually, I've done every single book I've done except for maybe one or two using using this. I think that Holy Mackerel was done with a mouse. Um, and my brother and my sister and me was done with a an iPad, just drawing with my finger on the iPad. So let's get some rough sketches in here where his legs are going to go. I'm going to make that one a little wider because the other one is a little wider than this one. Come down like this. Whoa, that was out of control. That's the problem sometimes with drawing on a computer is because it's, you have to really get used to it. And I just recently picked this back up again. Um, so that, you have to really sort of, your hand is drawing, but it's not drawing on what you're seeing, you know what I mean? Like on a piece of paper, you can't feel the paper. Now this tablet does have some texture to it. So it does kind of feel a little bit like drawing on paper, or I guess it'd be more like plastic paper or something. But I'm just realizing I picked a really ornate thing to try to do fast here. But that's okay. I think we can still get it done. So this is just to give me an idea of where everything's going to be. I'm going to clean up these lines. They're not going to be as like, wavy, and well, sometimes they are because it gives it a more sort of real sort of feel to it. Um, his mouth because he's singing. Put his tongue in the back like that. I'm going to give him a mustache. His eyebrows, side of his head. Just realize he doesn't have any ears. Should probably give him some ears. And then bring his collar around. So I'm going to bring his collar up a little bit so we can see it. And then his collar is this big sort of loopy, fringy kind of thing. And this is kind of the same thing as I've told you guys, a lot of you that I've been in classes with, I've told to, suggested that you guys sketch things first. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to roughen in some things. And then I'll come back in and I'll add color. And I'm going to leave the sketch layer so I can play with it a little bit. Um, so here's his hair. He's a jaunty lad, isn't he? That was more Irish, but that's okay. Let's make his hand up here like this. And his cuffs. And his other hand up here, kind of strumming. And the circle really lightly where we're going to make that thing. And this is the anchor thing for the strings. I'm going to put the strings in afterwards. So that's my sketch. That's my rough sketch. I'm going to do buttons. I'll play with this stuff too. Making some big flouncy kind of bow things on his feet. Now, the other thing that's kind of cool to do is I actually have a picture um, on my other monitor here, and I'm going to bring it over. I have a picture of, where'd it go? Of a troubadour. Let me see if I can grab it and bring it over here. Yep. So here is a picture of a troubadour. I'm using my mouse now, I'm not using the stylus. I'm going to shrink it up. And all I'm bringing this in here for is just to grab some of the colors. So I'm going to make it really small, stick it up in the corner, and I'm just going to use it to grab the colors. So because I want some of the sort of these kind of authentic colors for him. So we'll come back here to my sketch layer and finish off his jacket here at the bottom. And that should get us started. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk anymore because I may have to speed up this part. But what I'm going to do is now paint by selection. So I'm going to have a layer down here. And I'm actually going to take this tool right here. And I'm going to just draw a selection. And basically a selection is a protected, no, I don't like that line at all. It basically allows me to draw a selection like this. And that means that all I'll be able to do is paint in that selection. So I'll show you just really quickly. That might work. It just paints in that selection. Okay. So I'm going to do that. You're going to see me work on that with this. And I may speed up the video a little bit because I don't want it to take an hour. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to stop talking and I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Okay, I'm going to start talking again. So I'm going to start doing the some more detail stuff. So this little button up here locks it so that I cannot draw on anything that's not already painted. So in other words, I can't draw out here. I can only draw in here. And if I go back and forth, you can't see, you know, it only paints where I want it to paint. So this allows me to only paint on the picture itself, which will allow me to do some really cool things. So let me show you. I'll recenter this to make it the right size again. Excuse me while my mustache itches. Now I'm going to do a select tool like this, where I can just select the face part, and I'm going to try to paint some shadows up underneath like this. So I'm going to come here. I'm actually going to make this a little smaller, about half the width, and then I'm going to actually tell it to only paint 50% opacity. Then I can just come along like this. That's not the right color though. Um, come along like this. Oh, I didn't make it dark enough. There we go. Just paint along like this a little bit, following the lines of the, to give you a little shadow under his hair. I'll do the same thing on this side of the face. So I'll bring a little shadow on this side of the face. So you don't have to worry about it painting down into here because I've got it marked off, so I can't do that. I'm also going to go really small on this brush and come in here like this. Just add some details to his ears. Um, and I think that's good. I could try maybe a little bit under the mustache like this. So it looks like his mustache is like, especially out the end here, sticking off his face a little bit. Um, Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to do some of the hair. Do the same thing, I'm going to select it like this. It selects all the same color. Then I'm going to darken this up. I'm going to take the ink blotter or the sampler here, darken it up a little bit, go back to the big brush. Still at 50% up here, you can see. I'm going to go about halfway up in the 70s again, high 60s. Just sort of hit it where it goes under the hat a little bit like that. If I wanted to, I could also come back in here like this. Just add some dark where it goes in behind the head. A little bit more on this side maybe. Next I'm going to do the hat. So I'm going to come up here, select that gray, select the hat. Now here, if you remember, when I turn the sketch back on, I have two things going on here. So I'm going to try to darken this hat like in here, and then so we'll get a darker color, and it should give us more of a like it's underneath the hat like this, like you can see in the picture. Again, I'm not trying to paint the picture. I'm just trying to make it kind of interesting here. That's all. I don't even care that it has a little stepping like that, or shingling as we call it. You see how it gives us some depth there? I'm going to come up and subtract. Let me try this way. So we come in here like this and grab this, like this. Try to make that a different color so it stands out a little bit. Trim this up a little bit. Went a little crazy on the selection there. I'm going to get rid of that little piece hanging out over there too. So now I can come back in here. Let's pick a different color. Let's come up into bring it up into the oranges maybe. And then paint that over. Again, it's at 50%, so it's just giving a hint. Before I come back in here, I can also lighten up the brim a little bit. So we'll come up here like this. Take that color, bring it up a little bit, and then just hit the edge of it a little bit with my brush. Like that, just to give it like a little bit of light right around the edge like that. Again, I'm not trying to do a full painting here. I'm just trying to fool around here a little bit. All right, so there he is so far. So I think I'm good with the face. I think I'm good with everything from the neck up. So if you look at that now, that looks pretty cool. I like that. I like that's not bad. If I was developing like a character for a book or something, I'd take a lot more time on this. So I'm going to take this, bring it down into here. That should be good. I'm just going to add some details in here a little bit, just to give it a little ruffle look to it. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to make it a little darker. So I'm going to go here and here, and then select it. And then get the brush and just come in here a little bit and hit it kind of like that. And then what I'll do to give it a little more interest to it, I'll come up, I'll make it really light, come up into here, shrink the brush down a little bit, and then come back and just hit the other side just to lighten it up a little bit, make it. Just to give it just a little bit of interest of something, you know. Dilute, I'm just going to draw lines. So I'm going to get the smallest brush I can here for the strings. Come down here like this. And I'm going to show you another reason why I like to use a computer. So I'm going to draw a line from here. I don't know if you can see my cursor moving there, all the way up to here. Okay, and it's going to be completely straight, I hope. So let's get this. We'll go down into the dark grays like that. Let's give it a test here. We'll start here. That's not going to work. There's one string. There's two strings. Now let me show you a really cool trick here. Select that, then tell it to select everything else. So select inverse. Now it selects everything. I can paint anywhere except the hand. So now I can come in here like this, draw this line, and it goes under the hand. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here in the middle. I'm going to deselect all that. I'm going to come over here in the middle here, and I'm just going to do like a little design really lightly with the brush. And I'm going to grab a little bit bigger, grab the color again, make it a little darker, and make this a lot darker. Grab my brush. Then right in here, I'm just going to make like a little design like this. In the middle of the loot. Now I'm going to grab the loot itself. I don't care about all this stuff right now. And I'm going to take that same dark color, maybe lighten it up just a little bit, up into here. And then I'm going to do the same thing as far as under the collar because the collar hangs over the top of the loop. I'm just going to take this and come in like this and come along, give you a little shadow. I'm not tracing it like exactly because it's like curly cloth and stuff like that, so it's not going to be exact. Okay, so that's that. I could also take and select the bottom of the loop if I wanted to and give it like a little edge here at the bottom too. Maybe I'll do that. It's like I should do some stuff here under the arm, to the hand. The fingers are. Maybe give it a little bit of an edge along the side here. Sort of round it off just a little bit. And then I can come back up at the top, go light, and just hit the top up here like this a little bit. So that's that. Now I'm going to move on to the orange. I'm going to take and create, I don't know what it's selecting there. Not a big deal. I'll just add stuff to it like this. And like that. Although I'm not even drawing up there. I know it's picking up on the color lines here. Sketch was. That should do it. So again, now I'm just painting on the jacket. I'm just doing this because I want to select a little bit of it, and then I'm going to have, I don't know what happened there either. That way. That happens sometimes, especially when you're using brushes. You can get like different patterns and stuff like that inside the that whole wash of colors. Actually, if you zoom in on it, you can see it's like actually different. You can see actual pixels there, but you can see here it's blotty a little bit, so that's why you're getting stuff like that. Not a big deal. But he's looking pretty good. I like him. Actually, this is turning out better than I thought. So now I'm going to start working on the coat a little bit. So I'm going to get in the darker orange. I'm going to grab this. Not what I wanted to do. Grab the actual eyedropper. That's the word I was looking for before. Grab that. Come darken up a little bit. I'm going to come along the bottom underneath the lute and darken this up because the lute sticks out a little bit. Give that shadow. And yes, I will also do that on the pants. Come along here where the arm comes out over the top. And then I will also hit the bottom of the arm a little bit and the bottom of the cuff. Where the arm crosses here, I'm going to curve it like that because makes it look like the arm's curved. And come up like this. And also, I'm going to come back and do the cuff with a smaller brush. Paint in there, give it some color in there. Let's see what else. That's good. I'm going to decrease the size of my brush a little bit and just give me a little bit of a collar here, the cuff on his jacket. Okay, we'll give him some gold buttons too. I may lighten up and go the other way. Come up into here and add some on the top. Go back up into that range up into here. Just add a little bit up in here. Just to give him a little dimension, I guess. And a little up in here. All right. I just realized I also need to do these things. Jacket's basically done. Do these things. Same issue up here. There we go. Grab a darker color. So as you can see here, I'm moving when I lighten and darken colors, I'm moving up and down straight. I'm not going off this way or off this way. And this makes it tints and shades, just like you learn in art. So if we get it off in here, then we're going to different colors. But if I go pretty, you don't have to be exact. If I go up straight and up, up and down straight, like I'll just darken it there. That's just a tint of the color that we're already using. So I'm gonna come in here and add some color stuff there and some color. Oops, that's the wrong one. What do you do up here? Like that looks wrong because it was wrong. Um, so there's that. That's done. Now we'll hit the pants. Shadows on pants are difficult because if you're not careful, it looks like they wet their pants. I'll show you what I mean. Again, I'm going to come straight down here just a little bit, right like that, to get my brush, my color. Come back in. If you're not careful, you put too much on here, it's going to look like he wet his pants. And we don't want that because it's embarrassing for him. So there's our jacket, shadows on that. I'm going to take this. Now, we started out about here. I'm going to go up to here and then just give it a little light on the sides just to give him some dimension. I'm going to add buttons on his pants there too. I'm going to do the same thing with the stockings. Yes, he's wearing stockings. I was in a show once with the Wilton Singers 100 years ago. It wasn't really 100 years ago, but it was a long time ago where I got there and they didn't tell me I had to wear tights until I got there. And but it was fun. It was good. It was a good time. It was also the only time I've ever worn tights. Try to make the shadow match that line there so the green shadow and the pink shadow is the same. Okay, so there's that. Probably lighten them up, go the other way, up into here. Just hit the other side just a little bit. Again, trying to match that shadow coming off the pants, the highlight coming off the pants. That's looking all right. I'm happy with that too. Shoes, same thing. Mainly here, I think I'm just going to lighten them up. May try to put a little sole line on it, like for the bottom of it, but let's see. Um, there. Just come over the top like this. Okay. I'll show you another cool thing in a second. I will tell you now, if you go up on YouTube, you will find people who are much better at this than I am even. Just give it some folds are like leather shoes. So I'm just gonna do that. Okay, so that's good. Now the last thing we want to do is play with this bow thing here. This is gonna be a little more difficult, I think. Just gonna take this, go dark, but not a lot. I should be my smaller brush. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna come and just draw some folds in like this. Let me go really light up into here. Just draw in some other interesting little things here. And I might actually come back and do um, the edges even lighter. So come up into here even. Just touch the edges a little bit, just to make it fancy. Mr. Fancy Shoes here. Just a little bit. It's cloth, so it can be uneven. It can, you know. So there he is. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave him alone now. I think I'm done with that. So there he is. So now let's add some background to him. So I'm going to come back down here and have a, I think this is my layer for background. And I'm just going to draw. I'm going to grab some of the wood grain here on the floor of his suite here, like that. And I'm going to take that big brush. I'm going to draw a line across like this. Not like that. Yeah. Then come down here like this, underneath. Come around just to make a selection like that. And we have the color. I'm going to go for a really big brush on this one. I'm going to try to show you how you can create some kind of cool texture effects. I'm just going to come forward like this. I don't really care about the white. I'm just giving you some texture here. That's all it is. It's just the background. Get this out of the way. So there's our floor. Let's see what colors he's got behind him here. Ooh, really cool green wallpaper. Let's try that. So we'll go here. And the green is not going to come, it's not going to fight with this because this is below that line. So now we'll just tell the selection to go inverse, which means the opposite. So now it's going to select up here. This stuff up here you see is still left over from this thing, which I don't need anymore. I don't really need that anymore either. And then we'll try just going across this way. So it's going to go across that way. Again, I'm going to leave it with some white through it because I want some texture to this to make it interesting. And maybe since he's a troubadour, I'm going to put his gold buttons on too. I forgot about that. Maybe since he's a troubadour and he's singing somewhere important, I didn't mean to open that. Maybe we have some like things at the top here. Let me just close this thing before it starts. That's a little bit. That's fine. Get rid of this. Maybe we come up here at the top. And add some like big gold, waves or something like that at the top, like it's kind of the top of a fancy stage that he's on. Like some garland or something. I kind of like that. It's kind of cool. That's not too bad. So there he is. So then for me, all I do is I just take this. I can shrink him down a little bit if I want to. Whoops. I can shrink him down a little bit if I want to. He's a little big because I need to put the text on it for the day. So I'm going to shrink him down just a little bit like that. I'm going to say that his lighting, his theater lighting is impeccable because that way I don't need to do any shadows of him on the floor. I can move him down a little bit like this. And then for my lettering, we do white.